They thought wealth was only a ritual away. Two friends, bound by desperation, walking into a shrine where shadows ruled and every promise dripped with blood. Obiora wanted freedom for his family. Edozie wanted power at any cost. But when the priests demanded a sacrifice from their own bloodline, the path to riches turned into a curse. One chose resistance, one chose betrayal, and from that night, sickness, death, and blood marked their destinies forever. This is the haunting tale of the price of blood wealth. Subscribe now, like, comment, and share, because this is not just a story, it is a warning. In the bustling city of Aba, two friends walked the dusty streets with weary feet and broken hearts. Obiora and Edozie, young men with dreams as tall as the heavens, had searched for work for 2 long years, degrees in their hands, but emptiness in their pocket. Every knock, every application ended with the same words: "We will get back to you," but no one ever did. Obiora, the second son, carried the weight of sacrifice. His father had sold their only land just to see him through school. Failure was not an option. Edozie, the first son, carried the burden of a dead father, a widowed mother, and siblings who looked up to him as their only hope. Hunger was no longer just in their bellies, it was in their soul. One afternoon, as fate will have it, a car screeched to a halt beside them. It was no ordinary car, a black Toyota Jeep, the latest model, shining like gold among rust. The door opened, and out stepped Emeka, their former schoolmate. Gone was the boy who once borrowed salt from neighbors in their hostel days. Before them now stood a man draped in wealth, gas behind him, gold on his wrist, and confidence in his voice. He smiled, embraced them, and said, "My brothers, it's been so long." That evening, he took them to one of the most expensive restaurants in Aba. They ate food they had only seen in magazines, drank wine they had never tasted. Before parting, Emeka dipped his hand into his pocket and handed each of them 50,000 naira. Just like that. For Obiora and Edozie, it was like the first time in years they had such money. Emeka spoke little of his wealth that day, only muttering one word: crypto. But his eyes carried a different secret. That night, Edozie whispered to Obiora, "Brother, this is our chance, so let us meet him again. He can show us the way. We can't remain poor while others are eating." Reluctantly, Obiora agreed. 2 weeks later, they met Emeka again. But this time, he did not take them to a restaurant. He led them through narrow bush paths to a shrine hidden in darkness. There, before a priest in red robes, they swore a blood oath, never to reveal what they would say. And with trembling hands, they were initiated into a cult that promised wealth, but demanded blood in return. The priest wasted no time. Obiora's task was to bring a used sanitary pad and an underwear from someone close to him. Edozie's task was darker: a newborn's used diaper, and the strands of human hair. Obiora, torn between fear and desperation, betrayed a neighbor's trust and brought the items. Edozie, shaking in his bones, delivered what was asked. The priest's smile was thin as a blade. The feast of incense and whispered oath had only been the prelude. When Obiora and Edozie returned to the shrine with the same offering, an old pad, a soiled diaper, clumps of hair, the old man's eyes grew hungry. Foolish boys, he said, and set the items aside. You have passed the first test of the small. For true power, blood speaks louder than clothes. The oath must be sealed with virgin blood from your bloodline. Edozie's face went stone. You mean one of our own? He breathed. My sister? My cousin? We will never. Obiora's chest heaved. Rage and shame beat together in him. My hunger for wealth is to free my family from this ruin, he snapped, voice rough with anger. I will never stain my blood for coin. Never. The priest laughed, a dry echoing sound. You swore, boys. An oath is not prayer you can take back. If you refuse, we take what we need. Your hands will not touch the blade. Accidents are tidy. The road is long and dark for those who break their oath. They left trembling, pleading. They called Emeka, their old friend of sudden riches. Under the dim lights of a hidden lounge, Emeka listened as if testing salt. You came to me, he said coldly. I never dragged you. You cut your own hands on the promise. Oaths seal themselves. There is no mercy afterward. Obiora stared at the table, his soul suddenly thin and exposed. Edozie's jaw worked. The friendship that had once been all they had now split like old timber. Then the sickness found Obiora. It began with bursts of fever, then strange sores across his back. He withered under every doctor's chart. Hospitals shrugged. Medicine failed. Prayer cleansed the fever, but not as the shadows inside him. One midnight, weak and thin as a reed, Obiora whispered to his mother, take me to church, please. In a raw, trembling voice, he confessed everything. The shrine, the oath, the small offering, and the priest's final demand. He wept and begged for forgiveness. They prayed through the night. For a single hour, his eyes softened, and some weight seemed to lift. He smiled for the first time in months, then exhaled once, and was gone. Obiora's death broke Edozie in a way no fever had. He kept replaying the priest's word, the grin on Emeka's face, the hollow victory of morning without sleep. He vowed, in the dark, to stop the rot. But grief makes the mind brittle. Grief bends the proud. And when the priest came with a solution disguised as mercy, tired hands and a darker courage reached for them. Obiora's death was a bell that tolled for Edozie alone. It cracked open something hard and frightened in him. Anger, guilt, and a hunger that had been fed too well to starve now. He stood by the grave, hands shaking, and swore he would never allow Obiora's death to be in vain. But the priest's words had already become a rope around his neck. When the court returned, they did not whisper. They presented plans with the ease of bureaucrats. Accidents could be arranged, drivers could be bribed, a hit and run will leave no trail, broken glass, a scream swallowed by night. No one will suspect. Edozie's guts tore. They thought of Chioma, small, laughing, home with a bread crooked down her back, made his head split with nausea. He argued, pounded tables, begged for another way. The priest's voice was the same as the old oil lamp glare, cold, certain, indifferent. But the brotherhood had learned to harvest fear and turn it into obedience. If you not bring the blood yourself, they said, we will arrange the accident and you will carry it fruit. You will not be the hand that strikes, but you will be the one who asks it of faith. He thought of his mother's face, of the house that will be rebuilt, his siblings turned away from hunger, his future wife smiling beside him as she held their son, the image of a life redeemed by wealth, pressed like a fatal fever. In the end, cowardice and longing folded together. He chose. Chioma was just 15, a bright-eyed teenage girl full of dreams, laughter, and innocence. That afternoon, she walked home from school, her backpack bouncing lightly against her shoulders, her uniform dusted by the harmattan breeze. She was humming softly, a song her mother taught her, never knowing fate was waiting on that lonely stretch of road. Then it happened. The screech of the tires, the roar of an engine, a black car speeding out of nowhere. Before she could even scream, it struck her down. Her books scattered across the roads, pages fluttering like broken wings. Her body lay still, blood seeping slowly into the dust, staining the earth red. People gathered, horrified. Who did this? Voices cried. But the car never stopped. It vanished into the night, a shadow swallowing innocence. At home, the wails of her mother tore through the air like thunder. Neighbors rushed in, holding her as she screamed Chioma's name. Her siblings wept uncontrollably. To everyone, it was a tragic accident. But Edozie knew, deep in his chest, guilt crushed him like a boulder. The priest's chilling words echoed in his ears. If you will not give us, we will take it, and no one will suspect. And now, her blood, his own sister's blood, has been spilled, not by his hands, but because of the path he made. From that day, Edozie's wealth began to rise, because his soul was forever stained. Edozie watched it all unravel through a glass he could not break. In private, he signed papers, accepted property deeds, that felt like chains and watched doors open the moment the cause price was paid. Mansions rose, cars multiplied. He built a house for his mother, and for a while, money felt like salvation. He married a brilliant lawyer, Machi, whose steady hands could argue any case. He sent his siblings abroad. He stamped his name on bills and on charity checks. He was called Chief Edozie Okonkwo. At ceremonies, they toasted his success. But wealth brought no silence inside him. In the dead hours, he saw Chioma's face in the ivory of the fridge door. In the car's mirror, his own reflection aged with the weight of secrets. The man who had arranged the accident began to make demands. The brotherhood smelled the weakness and leaned in. Obiora's death taught Edozie nothing that would free him. It taught him only that the road to gold had been paved with bones. The priest's bargain never ends, and every coin repays the one who paid with blood. Years passed. Edozie's wealth grew, but so did the cause hunger. The priest returned. Chief, to maintain your fortune, another head must fall. Edozie trembled. How long will you keep asking? My hands are already soaked in blood. I cannot do more. But the priest's laughter filled the shrine. There is no escape. You are in forever. Desperate, Edozie paid killers to fetch him a head. A young boy selling granules was lured and butchered, but fate has grown tired of silence. The killers were caught, the human head discovered, and though the police were bribed, whispers of Edozie's darkness began to spread. Sleep fled from Edozie. At night, he saw her, his sister, walking in his mansion halls. Her voice paced his dream. Brother, why? What did I do to you? He woke screaming, drenched in sweat. His wife asked, What is wrong, my love? He lied. It's business. Problems with goods on the high sea. But inside, fear ate him alive. He was no longer the hunter. He has become the hunted. The court grew impatient. Give us another head, they thundered, or your wealth will vanish like a sand castle at sea. Edozie shivered. Poverty haunted him more than blood. And so again, he paid kidnappers to fetch a victim. But fate sealed his doom. The kidnappers were caught attempting to snatch a girl hawking pure water. They confessed publicly. It was Chief Edozie who sent us. The city roared. He was arrested. But before the truth could surface, the court silenced the case, twisting it into a lie of mistaken identity. Edozie sat in his mansion again free, but a prisoner of his own blood oath. Though the court silenced the scandal, they were furious. Twice, Edozie's recklessness had almost exposed them. They summoned him to the shrine, their voices heavy with rage. The chief priest's eyes blazed. Chief Edozie, your foolishness has brought danger to us all. For this offense, The gods demand a higher price. Bring us the blood of your family. Choose your mother, your wife, or your only son. The words struck like thunder. Edozie's body trembled with rage and fear. Never, he roared. I will never sacrifice my family again. Do you hear me? Over my dead body. The chief priest's voice was like fire. Do not tempt us, Edozie. You swore a blood oath. We have power across this land. No one ever exposed us and lived. You will not be the first. But Edozie clenched his fist, sweat dripping down his brow. His voice cracked, but his words were firm. I have given enough blood. I will not give another drop. Even if it means death, so be it. The court was enraged. No one had ever dared defy them and lived. They decided to teach Edozie a bitter lesson. Despite covering his tracks in the case of murder and kidnapping, he dared to challenge their power. One night, his wife, Barrister Machi, was struck with strange illness. Doctors could not explain it, and no medicine could cure her. The once strong woman became crippled, wasting away before his eyes. But the deadliest blow came when his only son collapsed while playing football with his classmate. The boy gasped for breath, and the doctors shook their heads. His life was slipping away. Edozie ran to the chief priest, tears streaming down his face. Please, spare my son. Take my life instead, I beg you. But the chief priest's voice was merciless. You refused our command. You defiled us. The boy must die. After all, your wealth was given to you by the brotherhood. Edozie fell to the ground, beating his chest. If I had known, I would never have joined you. What have I gained now? You gave me riches with my sister's blood. My wife is dying. My son is at the death's door. Your word cannot save them. You want more blood? Never. Take my life instead, but leave my family. The priest smirked coldly. Sacrifice one for two. Let your son's blood pay, and your wife will live. Edozie's voice thundered in reply. I will never again shed innocent blood. If I must lose everything, so be it. I will expose your evil. I have nothing left to fear. In defiance, Edozie went to the church. There, broken and weeping, he confessed every dark secret of the brotherhood. He exposed their ritual, their sacrifices, and the blood they demanded. From the church, he went straight to the police, determined to file an official report. As he signed the statement, his phone rang. It was the hospital. His son has died. Blinded by grief and rage, Edozie jumped into his vehicle to rush to the hospital, but he never made it. On the way, his car burst into mysterious flame. In a moment, everything, Edozie, his secrets, his regrets, turned to ashes. And so ended the life of Chief Edozie Okonkwo, a man who gained the world but lost his soul, his family, and his peace. The blood price of wealth was far too high. This is the story of Obiora and Edozie. One sought freedom and found salvation. The other embraced blood, wealth, and drowned in shadows. The word of God said in Mark chapter 8, verse 36, "For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" Let this story remind us, no wealth, no gold, no riches can replace the peace of a clean conscience and the love of a family. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, comment, and share with someone who loves a good tale. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories.